Alrighty guys, welcome back to another LEGO set review from BrickByBrick, and today is set number 70831. This is Emmet's Dream House / Rescue Rocket, containing 706 pieces and retailing for $70 in the United States. This builds up Emmet's Dream House with some little side builds that are really shrunk down on the box. And it's a 2-in-1, so you can also rebuild it into Emmet's Rescue Rocket, which, the cool thing about this box is that it actually has two fronts, and the other one, has the Rescue Rocket on the front. So I think I'm going to build up the rescue, or the Dream House first, and then the Rescue Rocket after. And I will show both of them in this video, so stay tuned through the whole thing if you want to see both of them. But we're going to build up the house first, and then I'll have to do some rebuilding and come back and, film the second half of this review. So, let's start off with this, which, is a house with some weird miscellaneous side builds, and, we'll show you the figures of the first half too. The first two figures we'll take a look at are the two which are not exclusive to this set or anything, and that is Emmet and Lucy. And Emmet is in his regular LEGO Movie 2 attire, which is just the slightly scratched up looking version of the LEGO Movie 1 attire. He comes with Planty in this set, who's almost a figure. He's a very important character to the movie. And that just uses one of those little brown fez pieces that was introduced for Indiana Jones, that when you own a minifigure set like that. And the top of the stud is stuck into one of these 2x2 round tiles with a hole in the center. And they just stick a plant in it, and that's a good little assembly. Not completely movie accurate, but it looks good. And his other accessory is actually exclusive to the set. It is a printed tile of the pillow from the porch swing, which the porch swing isn't included in the set. This says Emmet and Lucy forever. It's a good little tile and a cool little exclusive thing for this house set. And Lucy just has these two, ice cream cone light things. I think these may be reused in the Rescue Rocket model, so I'll comment on that later once I have that built up. And then the actual figure designs are relatively common throughout the theme. That face for Emmet is only used in 4 sets, but this is one of the more expensive of sets that it is used in. And if we remove some of Lucy's extra gear with the special scarf piece and quiver, then we can see the back printing on her torso. Again, Emmet's is all shiny and reflective. And there's the full extent of her front printing, and if we remove their headgear pieces, you can see also Wildstyle does have the arm printing, which is really cool. And then they do have alternate facial expressions for both of them. Emmet's is a little bit more determined, which this face I think totally fits the Rescue Rocket version of the house, and this front version works well for just the Dream House. And the third and last minifigure is Space Rex here, and this is a really well done figure. They put a lot of detail into it and a lot of extra printing that wasn't super necessary, but I definitely appreciate this exclusive version. This only appears in this set, and the torso, legs, and helmet are all exclusive. And he's got great arm printing there, as well as dual molding on the legs, good leg printing on the front, and arm printing on the other arm as well. And that's all really cool. I like the little space suit that he's got on there. This face print isn't super duper uncommon. It appears in 4 sets, I think. And it does appear in the little poly bag, the Plantable Ambush, I believe. So, it's not that uncommon. But this visor piece actually is also exclusive in lime green. It's completely translucent, so you can't see through it, which is partially due to the fact that his eyes are printed pretty low down, and they're actually printed pretty low down intentionally, because otherwise he would look quite strange when you put his hairpiece on. And yes, this hairpiece is included in the set, so you do get both versions of Rex there. And does have some printing on the top of his helmet as well with this special R logo, and he's also wearing a jetpack thing. And this has some nice lightning pieces to simulate, actually flying. And it does have one of these printed Rex slopes on the back. And, you can pull this off. It's just attached to one of these neck brackets. But in order to, actually see underneath that neck bracket, we're going to have to remove it. It reveals the rest of the detailing on his torso, which is also really nicely done. I think that this is a great figure. It has very limited screen time in the movie, but it's really nice to get it in physical form. And the last character here is Angry Ultra Kitty, whatever. The Apocalypse Kitty, I guess you could call it. And this is the version that they tell you to build in the house's instructions. It's, got the sleeping expression with the nice little printed 1x3 plate there. New mold for the tail, which is cool. This was originally introduced in the San Diego Comic-Con version of Apocalypse Unikitty, and, everyone was all worried, like, oh no, this is going to be exclusive, even though it obviously wasn't. And, the body is built up differently since it's a sleeping kitty, and, it has the two, or the 1 2/3 brick tall, brick with 2 side studs, and that works well. It looks decent, a little bit weird because it's a little bit thin this way, but it works. But you do also have all of the parts to rebuild her into into regular standing Apocalypse Kitty. They don't use those anywhere inside the build as filler pieces, so you can have the regular standing Apocalypse Kitty with the Dream House build. And these are the parts that you're left over with. I believe the 2 1x1 plates are just extra pieces from the set that I just threw on here, but you do have the extra facial expression in that 1x1 2/3 tall brick left over. So you can do this though, and the print for her body brick is pretty nice. It's there, it looks cool, and she does have this little arrow attached to her, which is just done with a bracket, and if you wanted to remove that and make her look a little bit more like a regular Unikitty, you are welcome to do that. And it's a good figure. Both facial expressions are exclusive, by the way, not just the sleeping one, so this one doesn't appear in any other sets either. And in addition to the house, you get the pieces to build up all of this crap, so that's cool. It's in a couple of sections. You got this larger build here, this little wall sort of build, and then a couple of little tiny side things. And these really are just filler pieces, which I guess is kind of interesting that they give you a build to use up all of the spare parts that are required to transform the house, but still, it's, I don't know, it kind of feels a little weird, especially if you're buying this set just for the house build. If you don't care about the rescue rocket, then, I don't know, you kind of got a lot of crap here. But we'll take a look at each of the little sections. And starting off with all the really small stuff, we just have this little barrel, which is just a gunmetal gray barrel with 2 studs inside for some reason. I don't know what that's supposed to represent. Maybe cat food. And then we've got, a laser pointer sort of thing, which, I don't know, you can attach this onto something with a clip if you have something to clip things onto, which there are a couple of places on the little rampart thing. We've got this sort of boombox looking thing, which has a sticker on there, which that's probably going to be used in the alternate build, I think in the console somewhere. But this is made up of a spring-loaded shooter, and you do obviously get the other spring-loaded missile as well, so you could take this and, shoot it like that. Maybe it actually told you to do that in the instructions, but if it did, I don't remember. And that's that. And then we've got this stack of barrels, which each barrel has a frog inside. I don't know why we're hiding frogs in barrels, but there are 2 green frogs included in the set. And I believe these guys get hidden up in the chimney. And then I have no idea what this is supposed to be. But, my best guess, I'll leave you 10 seconds to guess. I bet nobody came up with an accordion, because that's obviously what it is. It can't be anything else besides an accordion. And, this is obviously the best part of the set. And then we have this Apocalypse wall, and it's just an Apocalypse wall. This might look good outside in front of Apocalypseburg, but I don't have Apocalypseburg, so, it's kind of whatever. But, it looks like a reasonable height for a minifigure, to hide behind. And, it's got a spring-loaded shooter here, so you can attack the bad guys, which, that works just fine. And, the color's a little bit ugly right around this side with the dark orange and the yellow. But we also have this one little side build here, which is the binoculars that Wildstyle uses. And, those look kind of good from the front. They do have a stickered, tile here, which I don't know exactly what it's supposed to represent. But you can take that and put it into the hand of a figure, and it sort of looks alright. Let's show you that real quick. You can kind of be using them like that. It works. And, I guess it's kind of nice to get a representation of them in the set, even if I believe these are most likely going to get rebuilt into the house. So, you won't be able to use it outside of this little side build. And then last up we have a little junk pile that I guess is sort of being used into a workshop. We've got this little model here of the rescue rocket. It's kind of a crappy little micro scale version. Could have used a little bit another blue piece here. I guess you can take one from the assembly line. Plop it right on the front. and still doesn't look too right because you need one of the like flat ones. But you can view that as a copy of a prototype of the rescue rocket if you wanted to. Obviously, he doesn't build a prototype in the movie, but it looks okay. And then we got sort of a conveyor belt with just some random pieces strewn about. Nothing too crazy here. We've got these random Technic things on this side, which I don't know what they're supposed to be, but they're there. You can use them for whatever. They're really basically just there to take up space. And then in here is a little bit of a water tower, and it's a little bit tall. And inside this, if I shake this around, you'll hear it a little bit. There's actually just a bunch of those Technic pins because they couldn't figure out anywhere to hide them, so they're all hidden inside this barrel here. So, this is mainly just to take out a bunch of these gray pieces, and it looks okay for what it is, honestly, but it's really just a crappy side build. And here's kind of the scene that sets up with all the crappy side builds. Before we get into the house real quick, I just wanted to show you this, and it expands the scene a little bit, but I don't think that it does too much significant. It doesn't look too I mean, I guess the house looks a bit cleaner once you remove this, so maybe I guess if you're really going for the apocalypse feel, then you'll appreciate those, but this is kind of the meat of this build anyway. And from the front it looks like it does in the movie, which is cool. These pieces are pretty uncommon, so it's nice to get those. We have a front window, nice orange door with a little bit of a overhang in front of it. And then on this side, this section of the wall is kind of plain. We have another window. I like the bay window in the back. That's kind of a nice building technique just from the outside. This up here is a little bit weird, but they're going to use that for the rescue rocket. That's why they need that orange in there. And then we've got the little other window here, which is the same as the other side. Little chimney coming up this side, and that takes us around the outside. It's very simple from the exterior, which some people will appreciate it, but it is smaller than I was expecting. It's only a 16 by 16 build with a little tiny overhang in the back, and they even hang it like they make sure that the roof doesn't extend beyond the 16 by 16, which I would like this to be a little bit bigger, but it does open up, and it is fully detailed on the inside, which is nice. No second floor up here, which is maybe a little bit unfortunate, but you can put some small accessories up here if you wanted to. A little bit of hiding space, storage space, whatever you like to see it as, but that is what it is. And they do have a little space up here on the top floor for Angry Kitty, and she's got her own little bedroom. Really could have taken one of these pieces and used it on the outside thing if they wanted to, but they didn't really need to. These are really, again, there to just take up space. I don't know what they're supposed to represent, if they're supposed to represent anything for Unikitty. But we do have a little scratching post there, which is nice. And then we have some little piping, external or interior piping. And a stickered 2x3 tile with a portrait of Unikitty. That's nice. You notice in the back of the wall we have a bunch of inverted slopes because it's going to need those for the rescue rocket. So they use them to build up the roof walls, which it's okay. Again, there's a window over here, but this leaves the whole interior section, accessible more easily. And you do have the kitchen table, which I guess also kitchen slash dining room slash everything because the house is really small table. And you can sit Emmet there in the chair, and then they have the other side here, not using a chair piece, just using the 2x2 tile with 2 studs, because otherwise Lucy would not be able to fit on the actual chair piece because of her quiver. You have to remove it. They do have a black goblet piece, which those are relatively uncommon, and a little plate for Emmet. There's a nice stickered TV here on this little counter thing, which, it's sort of like a coffee table, but this looks kind of a little bit lame. A little rug on the floor. And then over here, we have a little kind of kitchenette with a stove and a plate, and that does use an interesting printed 1x1 round tile there with some printing on it that is not too common. I don't think I've seen any of those before, but we do have a portrait of Lucy there and a portrait of Emmet on this wall, as well as a little lamp on the ground, a little couch with actually some coins underneath that you can see one sticking out. They're just gold studs. And then these pieces are uncommon in that color. I mean, these pieces actually are relatively new, so they're not common in many colors yet, but probably will be eventually. And then we do a little ceiling light right here. But that's really all there is to the interior. It's nothing too crazy, but they do a good job, getting detail into the small space that they have available. So here we have the flying house rescue rocket model, which I may have just made easier using this teal brick separator, which, teal in this set, so that's a nice little bonus for anyone who doesn't have one already. But it's a pretty similar size to the regular dream house. I think it's a little bit wider and significantly longer, so it's a good, maybe it's the same width approximately, but regardless, this looks pretty good. It's got the same amount of yellow, really. You have some flaps here on the back, sort of Milano-like, and they're on ball joints, so you can adjust them. Same on the other side, and just spinning this around, you can adjust the angles of these engines just a little bit, and these ones you really can't. They're on a click hinge, but there's a little skeleton leg keeping them from being pushed in. And then this one is completely static. But it's a pretty good look from the outside. We do have the front bay window here, and got the fences right in front. We have these lasers which can move up and down, and they're a little bit fragile. They sometimes want to pop off like that. It happened a couple times while I was building the set, but other than that, the whole thing is pretty sturdy. And the one other feature from the outside is back here we have these two little flower pieces on Technic beams, and if you push those forward, they will activate the spring-loaded shooter mechanism, which that one just went flying, and then here's the other. It works well, looks good, nice little simple feature, and we can also access the interior of this thing. The roof comes off just like this, but there's actually an additional feature in the roof before we remove it completely. You can pull this section here off, and this again on the other side, and it reveals a little bit of attic detail. You can't really fit anything significant in here. There are some coins here and a frog, and on the other side there's just a frog. You could remove that and stick a character in there, maybe, possibly, if we lie them down like that. Can we fit them in there? Not quite. Maybe if we remove you completely, poor frog. Oh, I guess like that, if you want to hide Emmet in the roof. It will sort of fit. So, yeah, you can fit an extra character inside if you really, really want to. But, aside from that, we've got a little bit of interior space. And the interior is pretty nicely detailed. It's got the same sorts of things on the inside as the regular house build did, as you'd expect, really. But, he's got a little stove, and I don't know what that's supposed to be, maybe a cup or something. Some indoor plants. Picture of Unikitty here on the wall. And then the front little console area is kind of neat. It's got a chair that he can sit in with a sticker, both of those sections, and we got this kind of shifter stick thing, which that is where the 1x1 round printed tile is used. And we can stick him in the controls, and again, that seat there is meant like it was originally included for Lucy, but she doesn't really belong in this scene. So you can stick Planty on there as the co-pilot, and over here got nothing super special, a little counter, which you can, I guess you could put sleeping Unikitty on there if you wanted to, and just some more plants and a little bit of extra space where you could have figures standing. And down here in the back we have this, which folds down to sort of become a table, so you could maybe see this as a chair. And then in there you can see the pictures of Lucy and Emmet, as well as a little TV, which, that's kind of cool. The interior detail is a little bit simpler in this form of the set, but, I still think that overall it is a good look. Not too much extra to see here, actually, but, it's, I like it. I think that this does a good job of, recreating the vehicle from the movie, and this just pops right in like so. There's a little bit of the like light flame yellowish orange color in the corners there. That's actually really kind of blends in on camera. It looks almost exactly the same, but it is the slightest bit different. You can kind of see it in the shadow. But, so maybe you'll notice that and it'll look a little bit weird to you from the outside. But other than that, I think this is well finished all around. And just a good looking model. This can be adjusted up and down back up here, by the way. And a little bit of a chimney. And, in the movie, this does flip itself up at the very end of the building scene. But, yeah, I think that this is a pretty recognizable vehicle from the movie. And, looks pretty good in Lego form here. Overall, I think that this set is a pretty good one. I don't think it's quite as good as I was expecting. I do think that the house build is still a little bit lame, but this rescue rocket is definitely worth having on display, I think. The figures are fine. This Rex figure is really nicely done, and, it's always cool to get Ultra Caddy and the sleeping form of her as well, which these are just the extra pieces. And Lucy's fine, Emmet and Planty inside there, they're fine, but, this is cool, and I'll keep it on display, and I think for $70, it's a decent value, especially if you factor in the fact that you get multiple build experiences, if you want that. I guess that adds a little bit of value, but I do feel like the majority of it is just right here, and maybe this is a little bit small for $70. But I don't think $70 is ridiculously overpriced. I think $60 would have been great, but you can find this discounted pretty frequently at a lot of places. Have it for like $48, so as like their new regular price. So if you're interested in picking this set up, it shouldn't be too hard for you to find. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye, everyone.